Welcome back to Purple Nerd Channel. Today I am going to talk about the most requested video for this channel, and that is to explore Jill Jones' self-titled debut album. Now, in case you didn't know, Jill Jones pretty much spent her childhood in and around recording studios as her parents were in the music industry. Her stepdad, Fuller Gordy, was Berry Gordy, the owner of Motown and founder of Motown's brother, and her mother actually managed artists at Motown, including a very young Teena Marie. One time, the young Teena Marie moved in and actually stayed with her family, and that's where Jill Jones and Teena Marie became really good friends. So good, in fact, that at age 15, Jill Jones started her career in music by being a background singer and touring with Teena Marie. And it's this connection to Teena Marie that Jill was able to meet Prince, as Teena Marie was the opening act for Prince on the Dirty Mind tour. At the time he had met her, she was 18 at this time and had been touring for 3 years with Teena Marie and had appeared on 3 of her albums. So at 18, she was actually a well-established artist when it came to the music business. Prince really dug her style and kept in contact with her until it came time to do recordings for the album 1999, where he invited her over to Sunset Sound to do some background vocal work. Now then, when it comes to Jill Jones doing background work with Prince, this is where she becomes the unsung hero of the Prince camp, no pun intended. When Prince would do background vocals, he would typically do it himself. He would do in his traditional singing voice, his falsetto, and even a lower registry. But you'll notice around the early and mid 80s, there was this other voice that kind of tied his voices together perfectly, and that secret little voice was Jill Jones. She is probably the most uncredited artist in the Prince camp, as she appeared on multiple projects of Prince's and Prince-related artists. After the completion of 1999's recording, he actually had her join the touring band for 1999. In case you missed her, she's the blonde who's all rubbing up against Lisa Coleman. He also gave her a part in the film Purple Rain, although she might have been put on the 1999 tour because her uncle Earl was actually Prince's hairdresser, who had created this unique technique of a dry curl, which he ended up taking that secret to his grave. Pretty much from day one, there were always discussions of doing a solo album between Prince and Jill Jones. The problem was that every time they would start recording, Prince would get sidetracked and start another project, putting her to the side, and for whatever reason, she always got put to the side the most. But I do have kind of a theory as to why. As you see, Jill Jones has a very powerful voice, which is completely opposite as how Prince would have women in the groups that he would create sing. And when it came to recording things in the studio, Prince was in charge. And when it came to recording with Jill Jones, she would challenge him being in charge, because he would go ahead and lay down his vocals on the song as the guide track and tell her to sing it just like this. And of course, she would go in there with her vocal gymnastics, and he would pretty much hit stop on the record button and be like, no, that's not how you do it. Which would lead to a fight, which they would butt heads all the time, and they seemed to always try to out-petty the other one. Which is funny because although they did date on and off for, a few months or whatever, their relationship was more like brother and sister, the way they were always bickering with each other. But they also had each other's back. And that is why this album covers recordings from 1982 to 1986, 1986 being the year that she got fed up with the whole Prince process and went to David Z and got with him to help finish her album. Which she kind of went behind Prince's back, as David Z was in the recording studio working on other side projects of Prince, when she kind of just went to David and was like, yo, we're doing this, so let's get it done. Allegedly, the story is that Prince went ahead and said he was cool with it because apparently Miles Davis was in one of the sessions and he heard Jill sing and he really dug how she sung and told Prince that, and Prince was like, okay, well, if Miles thinks you're cool, then you're cool with me, and go ahead and do your thing with David Z. And it was with this alleged reasoning that Prince gave the approval that David Z could go ahead and finish the production on her album. Jill Jones' self-titled debut album was finally released May 19th, 1987. The album did not chart in America, but did pretty well in Europe. There were 3 singles released. Mia Bocca, which did not chart in the United States, but strangely hit number 4 in Italy. G-Spot, which did not chart anywhere. For Love, which also did not chart anywhere. And even 2 videos were released. Most of the promotion for this album was done overseas, as Jill was living in England at the time of this release. So let's go ahead and dive into this album. Mia Bocca, which is Italian for my mouth, was recorded in 1983 and was actually mentioned in the original script for Purple Rain called Dreams. It features an arrangement of Claire Fischer's strings, which can also be heard in the film score for Under the Cherry Moon. And also, what's up with the weird line of "I've had the same lover since I was 12 years old"? G-Spot was originally recorded by Prince in 1983 before he reworked it for Vanity so it could be on the Vanity 6 second album, which was abandoned after Vanity left the group. So later that summer, Prince reworked the song for Jill Jones. Throughout the verses, she is spelling out the word "finally," and unless I missed a metaphor, I'm pretty sure that every woman knows where the G-Spot is. Violet Blue, which is really the first song on this album that shows how powerful of a singing voice she has, was recorded in 1986 and then was actually reworked for Maite in 1993, but of course that version has never been released. With You is a cover of Prince's own song from his album Prince from 1979. Little changes musically on the song. It pretty much sounds like the same track. There's a little bit more guitar in it though, but pretty much it's the same track. But vocally, she completely outshines Prince on this song when compared to his original vocals. All Day, All Night was originally recorded by Prince and the Revolution live in 1984. But was never released. Sometime around 1986, Jill Jones' vocals were added to this live track, which is why a lot of sites will list this as Jill Jones featuring The Revolution. And I have to say, vocally on this song, Jill just gives it her all. Listen to me, For Love was recorded in 1985 and has a very unique story behind it, as allegedly the group The Family, a group created by Prince, primarily made up of ex-members of the time, were taking a break from filming their video for their single Screams of Passion and decided to spend that time in the studio working on some random music. They were working on this particular song when they had Jill Jones pop in and do the lead vocals. She does the entire song in her lower registry, and you can also hear Prince, who's credited as background singing, but he's kind of like more co-lead, as he's very apparent in this song. You know that I'm your woman, baby, baby, you're my man. My Man was originally recorded by Prince in the summer of 1985 and was actually supposed to be included on the album Parade, but was left out of the album. Later in the winter of that same year, Prince reworked the song with Jill. Baby You're a Trip, which is my favorite song on the album, was originally recorded by Prince in 1982, and it was actually about Jill Jones, as he had caught her going through his diary. Prince would rework the song in 1986 with Jill Jones. After the release of this album, Jill appeared in the film Woman's Club, and also around this time started doing a couple side projects musically outside of the Prince camp. It was in 1988 that Jill started working on her second album for Paisley Park Records. She did 4 songs with Prince and really wasn't feeling the direction that the project was heading in, so she headed off to England and cut 11 songs with musician Chris Bruce. The plan was to take these songs as well as the 4 that she did with Prince and make this her new album. They started ramping things up to release this project, even go as far as filming a video for the song Boom Boom.
Bumpin', baby, boom, boom, bumpin', baby, can't you feel the beat of my heart?
The plan was to release the album around the same time as the film Graffiti Bridge, which Jill Jones appears in. But for whatever reason, the project was completely scrapped. While waiting for her contract to expire with Paisley Park, Jill started doing even more projects outside of the Prince camp. The biggest one being the song The Ground You Walk On, which was featured on the soundtrack of the film Earth Girls Are Easy. The soundtrack was released in May of 1989. After leaving Paisley Park Records and essentially Prince, Jill Jones continued to record and release music. This included albums like 2, released in 2001, Wasted, released in 2004, and I Am, released in 2016. She also released the heart-wrenching song I Miss You, a tribute to Prince, in 2016. Still to this day, Jill Jones makes music, and might I add, she still makes great music. When she's not doing music, she's spending a lot of time on different podcasts and social media platforms talking about different charities and social movements. Thank you again for joining me on the channel. Please like and share this video as much as possible. And as always, please subscribe to the channel. I will see you on the next episode where I start getting back into some of the Purple films. And until that next episode, I wish you heaven.